Hi everyone. So today's class is going to be about using props, specifically a desk or a table and chairs. So my name's Kimberly. I'm with Move by BJC, and this is going to be more of a workshop style class than a flow, so that you have an idea of how you can use this anytime, all the time. So let's get going. So first things first, a couple safety and housekeeping notes for you. If you are using a chair, and I'm guessing most of you are going to have a nicer chair than this, but this works too, folding chair. As you can see, we have a really slick floor. If you also have a slick floor, if you're doing this in the kitchen, at home, or if you're doing this at the hospital, remember with the floors, you might want to put a towel down, or yoga mat, a blanket, something that isn't going to slide as much, because I've seen things happen and you don't want to do that. So I have just a yoga mat underneath to give just a little bit of stickiness so that we don't have to worry about the chair sliding from under me. Also, depending on where you're doing this, if you're using a heavy duty kitchen table, it's no problem. But if you're using a lighter table, this one, for example, has wheels, make sure the wheels are locked, because there's nothing worse than things moving on you when you're in the middle of it. So with that, let's get going. So first things first, go ahead and sit on your chair, and I'm just going to move over here so you get a side profile. When you're sitting in a chair, you're not going to sit all the way back, and sometimes you're going to have armrests, sometimes you're going to be on a dining chair. It's going to be different kinds of chairs for everyone, but the basic rules are the same, and that is you're not going to be reclining relaxed in your chair. You actually want to be sitting not quite on the edge of the seat. So if you're sitting too far over, you're going to feel tippy. You should never feel tippy, you should feel solid. So you're about the halfway spot on your chair. Now, if you've got a big executive chair, it's gonna be maybe the 1/3 spot. If you've got armrests, it's really nice if you can find one that's got the space under the armrest, but even with one, there's some things you can do I can't show you here, but I'll try and walk you through it. Next, for your feet and legs, your toes are gonna be pointing in the same direction as your body, so not turned out, not turned in. And then your ankles are going to be under your knees. So what I see most often is that people draw their feet underneath towards the chair, or they draw it forward. So we call this bone stacking, and we want to be working the strongest parts of your body, muscles and bones. And so toes point forward, knees are directly over ankles, feet, knees, hips are all in line. Everything's more or less running parallel to one another. So from here, we're going to do this without other props for now. So hands can rest down on top, anywhere on the legs that's comfortable. If you're really close, so you don't have a lot of space because you share a cube with someone else, you can also have your hands on top of your desk. If you're at one of those ergonomic desks, you're going to be putting it underneath. And from here, if you have a keyboard, anything, just go ahead and slide it out of the way so that it doesn't get in the way of movement. Although, I will say if you just scooch it forward and then you have to get on a meeting real quick, Teams, no problem, just draw the back in and you can continue later. So, other parts here, when you are seated, make sure, what most of us do is one of two things. We're used to doing this, right? Or this. The other thing that we will often do when we're working on things is that when we are sitting down, we'll overcompensate, right? I know I need to sit up straight, so I'm sitting up straight. I'm pushing my chest forward. We're not going crazy here. What we want is just a nice posture here. And by nice posture, think your shoulders are over your armpits are over your hips. So this, no, right? Because even though my armpits are over, or my shoulders are over my hips, my armpits are not. So you find nice lines here. So when you are there, you're going to feel equal pressure in the hips in your seat and in your feet. Now, most of us, I'm barefoot so that you can see things, but more likely than not, if you're at work, if you're at home, you might be wearing shoes. And so when you are feeling the pressure of your feet in your shoes, think about feeling pressure on the instep, feeling pressure on the outside. You should be able to have relaxed toes. So if you've got a really tight toe box in your shoe, think about, can you feel that toe beside the pinky toe? And if you can't, go ahead and wiggle the toes really good and then set them down again, even in the shoe, and try to think about that feeling of pressure in your shoe. And that way, it's not as good as barefoot, but it's going to be as good as we can get. And that's what we're going for here, right? Is like, how do we make this something we can actually do realistically? Because we can't always kick off our shoes. Sometimes it's gross. We don't want to do that. So once again, I find my pressure. So right angle, and I relax my shoulders. So this is step one. This is actually already working my abdominal range. It's working the muscles along my back, including the space between my shoulder blades. I roll the shoulders up to the ears, breathe in, Exhale, roll the shoulders down. So your breath leads the movement, not the movement itself. So breathe in, I start the breath, lift up, exhale, down. So you can do 5 of those. That's 1, 2, 3. Now if I have my hands here, 4, last one. So the breath is leading the way. Next, we go one direction, now we go the opposite direction. So we roll the shoulders back, shrug the shoulder blades together, lift, exhale. That's 1, 2, 3. I find for me, sometimes I like to blink in between. So I do this and you'll notice I blink and then I drop as I open my eyes. And I find that if I do that, it actually causes me to slow down. So you can really get involved here. So it's down, see, blink, another blink. So you can use your eyes in here to help relax. Next, so you've done 5 in each direction. Next, you're going to take your leg, and you can do a couple different things, but the easiest way is you scooch just a little bit close. So again, make sure you're sturdy, and you're gonna draw 1 foot out. 1 foot out, and then the other leg is going to draw back. So on the side here, you've got a right angle. I've got one cheek on the chair, toes point, and my leg is parallel with the chair itself, and then the other one is gonna go back. Now, more likely than not, you're not going to have a ton of room here, so this may be as far as you can get. You might get a right angle-ish, you might go less. If you can go further, you can really extend, which is why you have just the one side of your body. So you don't wanna be doing this, okay? So one side here, and then so you're in warrior 2 position or a high lunge, right? This may be familiar to you. We're doing it with a chair. This is gonna be a way of getting deeper into the pose. We'll be able to do it with less space. My toes are pointing forward. Now, if you're worried about your balance, right, because it can feel a little tricky, you can take the arm closest to the back of the chair and place it on here. Alternatively, if I'm doing this right next to a table, I can use both arms. So one is on the chair, one is here. Now, more often than not, especially if tight hips, the body will turn towards the table. Go ahead and have the body in the same direction as the toes, as the knee, and you're just going to hold this, sliding the leg back. Find that full extension, pull your hip on the outside forward, the hip closest to the back of the chair back. So you're squaring your body here, and you can hold this for 2 to 3 cycles of breath. If you do one side, you always do the other side. So, once again, I find my angles. I make sure that my knee is directly over the heel. I stretch the leg back. Now, it's important to mention here, what happens I see most often is people draw this leg gets wild and crazy. Don't go wild and crazy. Think about drawing the leg as close to parallel as you can. Now, there are gonna be a couple of reasons why that can't happen. If you've had a hip replacement, if you've had things happen with your knee, with your meniscus, you may not be able to. Also, people with really, really tight hips, this is gonna be a little bit more of a challenge. So your leg may have to be further out. That's okay. So just know, even if you're not exactly parallel, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It just means your body's different. And it's gonna be a little bit different for everyone. So get as close as you can while feeling stability. Now, if this means you're gonna fall over, then that's not what you're looking for. So find that space with your leg that allows you to feel maximum stability. And again, you can always use more than one thing to find balance. So I'm once again holding it for a few cycles of breath. Try not to lean. This is something, you see this throws my body off, and I'm not going to be getting as deep a stretch here. When I'm here, I'm going to be using the muscle groups as for both stretching and for the lengthening as well as for creating strength. Next. We'll go back to some, we're going to start using our lovely table here. So if you have the opportunity that you can actually put your legs up, and if you are in shared space and maybe you're the only one, or you can convince the other people that you're sharing space with to all do this with you, or if you have an office, you can close the door, you have a room, you can close the area, you can use a bed too for this. You're gonna take your leg, now I'm gonna make it look easy, right? You can just throw your leg up there. It's not always that easy to throw your leg up there. So I'm gonna show you ways you can get your leg up there so we can do some of these other poses. I can take a stool or a table, and I can actually help pull my leg with one arm or two and I'm stepping on the seat of the chair. Now from there I can take a hand or I can take both hands, but it's nice to have something grounded, and I can lift it up so that my foot is propped in here. Now if you're wearing a shoe, this works too. Sneakers, like especially for the nurses out there, I don't know, you gotta make the choice yourself. You might wanna put something on top. Now, what you do first is you take your standing leg and you're gonna turn the toes towards the desk, and then the leg on top will follow the way, okay? So your standing leg leads the way, the leg that's bent follows. Next, it's going to be bent. Now, how high this knee is going to be different for each person based on flexibility, also based upon leg length. If your leg is shorter than mine, I have pretty long legs. If your leg is shorter than mine, you might have to put something sturdy beneath you. One of my very, very, very favorite things to do is 500 sheet reams of paper. So if you're at work, that's what I recommend doing. If you're at home, sky's the limit. I mean, you can use pretty much anything you can think of, get creative, but 500 sheet reams of paper are great. Next, take your leg and you want it to be in line with your navel. So here's my navel, and I'm gonna scooch my heel using my hand so that my body is turned in the same direction. So often I'll see this. Think about turning your shoulders so that your belly button and your heel are in line. That's step one. Now you can use your hand and gently just use the weight of your hand to deepen the pose. I'm not pressing, I'm just allowing the weight and gravity to do its job. So this is a variation of tree pose right here. Now I can hold it. Oftentimes the foot will want to, your standing leg will want to lean out. Think about putting pressure on the inside of your foot, pressing down, finding length through the body, right? That's gonna help with balance and stability, and then resting the hand. That's step one. Step two now is if I want to deepen, or if I have time, I can start to bring the leg over where the heel goes towards the hip or maybe even beyond the hip. Now, most of the time what I see happen is people are like, oh, I can go really far. By the way, windowsills, amazing to do this. So you go all the way over and people are like, see, look how far I can get it. But you notice my whole body is turning. So find the place that allows you to bring the leg over as far as you comfortably can while still keeping your square, your shoulders square, your hips square to your desk, your windowsill, whatever it is you're using here. You can draw the heel closer to you. If it's too intense, because it does press on the bone here, you can draw the leg further out in front of you. So just know that you gotta find the sweet spot for you. So again, I can rest my hand here. If I want to add a little bit of pressure, make sure it's not directly on the knee. It's going to be on the flesh just above the knee. And I'm actively keeping my body facing forward. And once again, you can use your breath here. 2 to 5 cycles of breath is nice, especially if you're tight on time. You can do up to 15 cycles of breath if you'd like. So we've done one side. Now we're going to do the other side. So just to say, we can do it also the same exact thing, but we can do it from a side. So I'll take my foot, I have one hand rooted down on the table, the other foot steps up. This is a big step up. So if that's too much of a step up, you can have a couple reams of paper here, or a filing cabinet works really well. Put the foot up here, and then bring it up. And again, if you're in a hotel room, hospital room, you can do the same thing with the bed. So now from here, you notice, look how my body is already turning. I want to turn my body, and I notice my foot isn't turned. So draw the heel, make sure that the long part of your foot is running parallel with your desk. And so notice that my body is turning, but I can't bring the heel all the way over. So I actually have my foot removed off and my knee down. So this is the exact same pose on the other side, but I'm doing it from a side angle because sometimes you're just going to have different amounts of room, or maybe for different reasons or another, it's just not that easy to get the leg up. So this is another way of getting the leg up. Now notice here, this is actually my looser hip, so my knee's touching here. So just know, sometimes a knee may do one thing on one side and may do something different on the other side. It's normal. So I keep facing, I'm keeping my body running parallel to the long edge of this surface. I'm going to relax this arm. This arm can rest on the leg, or it can rest on my desk. That same posture I was using when I was seated at the chair at the beginning, it's the exact same posture I'm going to be doing here. Now to come out of it, I relax my standing knee. My foot can come straight down, or if you need that intermediate step, you can tap the seat of your chair and bring it down. So I go ahead and turn. So those are 3 poses. So just to review everything we did, we're going to start from the very beginning. So pose number 1, you get the front view this time. Pose number 1 is just sitting down proper posture in the chair. Right, so this is called seated mountain. I've got the right angles with my knees, with my ankles. I've got a nice long torso. And I relax my hands, again, either on the legs themselves or on my desk. Rolling the shoulders up, breathe in. Exhale, relax. 5 of those, and then we'll switch directions. Shrug the shoulder blades together, inhale, exhale. Maybe using the blinking to help out. Next, pose 2. I come to the edge, half of my body is on the chair. I turn to the side. I can use the different surfaces to help. I find that spot, so I'm scooching a little bit forward or a little bit to one long edge of my chair. And most people, even if you have arms on your chairs, there's a little groove here, so you can still make this work. I find 90 degrees, toes, my leg is running towards the front edge of my chair. Back leg, again, I'm gonna try and keep it as close to parallel as I comfortably can, where I can find stability. Remember, stability is key here. If you can't hold a pose safely, then you need to move your body. Pull the outer hip forward, the inner hip towards the chair back, squaring my hips, pressing down through the front of the toes, through the back of the toes, and to extend the back leg, straightening the back leg is going to make this more intense. Also, if I feel stable and strong, I can lift the hips ever so slightly so you can still feel almost how close the chair is, but I'm not actually connected with it. I'm not actually touching it. My clothes are, but the actual weight of my body is not. So we do it on one side. Same thing here, switch to the other side. So I'm trying not to lean forward to get too cozy, right? So I find my angles. Option to lift one arm. Option to lift the other arm. Also option if you want to add a gentle twist, you take a breath in, find this length, right? So first, nice neutral spine. On your exhale, turn. And I can use 2 surfaces here, or I can reach and touch the back portion of my chair here. Soft shoulders. So that's 2 variations with that pose. And then, last but not least, our variation of tree pose. So I step up, turn the standing leg so that it's facing the chair, or the desk rather, on top. Release the outer hip down. So notice that drops the knee. Maybe add weight and gravity. To intensify, I bring it over slowly, right? This isn't a race. Maybe add the weight of the hand. Next, slide off, move the foot, switch to the other side, and once again, you can do the other way, which is scooching closer, making sure that my body is running along. So it's almost like I'm trying to sit on the table, but I'm not. Bring the foot down. You can hold each of these poses for a couple minutes at a time. You can do 2 to 3 minutes if you don't have a lot of time, so you can do this whole thing in under 10 minutes. You can also hold it longer. You can hold each pose, each side of each pose for 3 to 5 minutes, which will lengthen it, and you'll get a deeper stretch. So it really is going to be a choose your own adventure on what works for you. So thanks again for joining me, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Hey guys, my name is Bake McBride. I am the Assistant Manager and Group Fitness Director here at Move by BJC. And I want to thank you guys for taking the time out of your day to join us for this session. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, you can jump on the website at www.movebybjc.org, or you can give us a call, 314-286-0525. Thanks again.